Okay, here we go. Live. Mic looks good. Cameras look good. Wi-Fi looks good. Okay, let's go. Nobody here. Nobody here. It's all over. Good morning. Oh, one. Mixed work this morning. A bunch of mixed different work jobs this morning. Preparing a polymer plate here today. Morning, Dave, and others. There are no others today, it looks like. Everybody's here. Okay, good morning. The paper is out. Yes, thank you again. It's been quite a while since I've forgotten, right? Some weeks. Okay, polymer plate today. Polymer plate day today, and I have to get the plate ready. I haven't done this. Cameron and I actually forgot about this. We've got our production schedule pretty much worked out, when the blocks need to be ready, when we need to get the paper, when the sizing needs to be done, but we always persistently forget to get these polymer plates ready. And Sugusan finished yesterday, 2 days ago, she finished her edition of the Summer Tea Fields. And this morning, she needs to put the title on it. And we haven't got the plate ready for her, so that's my job this morning. She'll be showing up here basically any minute asking where this thing is. So I have to get it ready. And what we've got is a little tiny piece of plastic that has the writing on it. It's backwards at this point. I don't know if you can see it. It says Summer Tea Fields. I can't get the right angle for the reflection here. So what we have to do is similar to carving a natural woodblock. Just a piece of cardboard, a piece of the drawing board. So I have to cut registration marks here. A sample print. I don't have one of her Tea Fields prints here, but they're all the same size. So I'll just get one of June's prints here. We'll put it in here, figure out where the lettering goes. In fact, maybe what I should do is put the lettering on the plate first, and then move the registration marks to fit. That might be easier. So anyway, what's going to be happening this morning is this. I've got to get this plate ready for Sugusan first, and then after that, I've got some embossing work to do on this print. Look at this. Any guesses what this is? Which of our prints do you think has this particular shape? That's the print that I'll be embossing this morning with Yamamoto-san's name as a printer. Once I get this made. Korean hot dog print, yeah. The wrong glasses here. You've seen those before, I've done this before. It would be perhaps a year since I did the previous one in this series. I did it right here on this desk on a stream. I put the embossing on, but it's probably easily a year ago. Happy anniversary. Ah, so God, that's right. It was yesterday. We forgot about it. We had our party Tuesday night, and then that's it. I totally forgot about it. Yesterday was the anniversary. Look at that. Yesterday was the anniversary. Yeah, I forgot. I totally, absolutely forgot. Look at that. Oh well. Well, we did our party. I forgot about our anniversary. It's going to need to go where? Somewhere around there. Okay. This actually is not going to be trivial to get this lined up here. Totally forgot about it. I think that's it. Do you remember when Cameron's anniversary is? October, I think. October 1st was his starting day. That would have been in 2017. Don't quote me, but I think that's the starting date. What's this? Me and Dave share a last name and are both from Toronto. What's this? You mean as in Bull? Okay, I'm not from Toronto, but yeah, good enough, close enough. I spent 2 years. Two years there? How many years did I spend there? 1977, 79? Somewhere on there. I think I was there for 2 years. The GSM weight, I don't have the slightest idea. I'm sorry, I know nothing about the gram weights of our paper. I suppose I should. Here in Japan, in the traditional fields, that's not how they measure it. They have their own traditional numbering system called momme. And actually, I myself, I don't even know the details of that. I'm sorry to be a little bit unscientific about this, but it's simply me and the paper maker talking about it, and I'm saying, no, we want it a little bit heavier than that, please. And he says, okay, and he gives me a little bit heavier than that. So I'm sorry, I know that's not a good answer, but I don't know. If I was a more scientific kind of guy, I would have been keeping scientific records of all the paper we've used over the years, and how many grams and how many this and how many that. But I haven't ever followed that kind of a way of doing things here. I'm sorry. When I came here, whatever it was, 40 years ago, if I had known that the technology of making these products and stuff would be, disappearing and stuff, I might have been more interested in actually documenting things more carefully. But I didn't. I had no idea that it was all on the edge. So I'm sorry, I can't answer the question. I really don't know. Karen's here. She took some of our paper a while ago to make the prints she's using, and she has experience buying paper from other paper makers, so she may have a better idea. Is Karen here? Yeah, the Iwano question, eh? I phoned them yesterday, but they were busy. They're supposed to get back to me today, so I'll be talking to the Iwano family today about this question. There's confusion about the Iwano name. There are a couple of families up there in that same village using the name Iwano, and they're not related like as in brothers and stuff like that, but they're obviously they're related at some point going back up the line. And our paper comes from the man Iwano Ichibe. He's been the living national treasure. He's Ichibe number 9, Iwano number 9, and his father was number 8. But there are other Iwano families up there making paper, and I'm not sure what paper is that Alex has at McLean's. So once I heard about this yesterday, I got on the phone, but as I said, I didn't get a chance to talk to them yesterday. They're pretty busy people, so hopefully I will talk to them today, and I'll be able to pass on what I learned. What's this deal? Is Iwano-san's granddaughter really actually making paper with him? I'll see if I can answer you back later today. Okay, I think that'll do for her. So nobody's got the answer to that large print that we've got coming up here, eh? Nobody knows what this is. I'm surprised. I thought some of you guys would clue into that. Okay. That's ready for Suga-san. Okay, next job, embossing. Here's the embossing plate. It has two barren circles there, right? You can see them. The embossing plate has two barren circles, and we have a left and a right here. I'm missing the conversation here, I'm sorry. Stage 2 cats, I put 3 more up this morning, and unfortunately I couldn't put them on the website because when we I'm not sure what to do about this. When we asked for initial applications, I put a little checkbox on the page saying, are you okay with us putting this up on the website for people to see? I'm not quite sure why I did that, because of course we want to show this all the time. But because I put that checkbox on it, a few people didn't check it. And as it happens, the 3 people that I asked today to move forward to stage 2, I'm still going through the files, picking people, and we're not done yet at all. I'm doing 3 or 4 a day. The 3 people who I asked today to go forward all had checked the box. I didn't check the box to say, okay, let's put it on the website. But I really want to put it on the website. So when I sent the invitation today to ask these people, hey, let's move forward to stage 2, I asked them, look, I know you checked the box, but I want to show these. Is it okay with you? So perhaps later today, after the messages come back from these people, I'll be showing more. But there will be an update today of 3 more. Maybe I'm going to do that for the next 3 or 4 days. I'll do 2 or 3 or 4 every day, going through the 600 images and picking some more to put them forward. I'm sorry to be so piecemeal about it, but there's just still a ton of things going on here. Okay, what is this print? What is the mystery print here? This is the mystery print. Here's the group here. I've got them grouped into groups. That loop is set aside for the loop. Yes, it's the treasure chest prints. It's the treasure chest prints. Is it too late to submit an idea? No, of course, this is going to go on, as I proposed, it's going to go on at least till the middle of August. But having said that, the production of these things, the first one, Evening Snow, starts September 1st, but the production is then going to go sequentially. So by the time we get to Evening Glow, production of that one isn't going to be starting until September in whatever it is next year, 2020. So I'm still of 2 minds whether I should nail them all down by September 1st this year or just nail the first few down and leave it open for ones at the end. Anyway, I've got to get going on this. I'm talking too much. I'm working not enough. Yeah, these are the double prints. We make 2 up. I did this series back in, I don't even know when it was, 2009 or 2010 or something. I did this series, the Mystique of the Japanese print, Bino Naso in Japanese. And I made them, because I shipped 1 each month, I made them 2 at a time. It took about 6 weeks to make each pair, which meant I was quite relaxed on the actual production schedule. I didn't have to start to finish every month. And not all of the printing, the idea was to make 2 prints that had similar coloring, so when you're printing a green, you can print both sides. But over the course of the series, they kind of diverged, so not every print had too many matching colors. The key block is the same, the embossing is the same, maybe a couple of the grays are the same. But it worked very well. This batch, I didn't print these, of course. This has been printed for us by Yamamoto-san, our young outside printer. And I now have to put the embossing. So what we've got is this. There's a space on the print here. You see where the embossing is? The embossing around the design. And there's a white space at the bottom there with no embossing in it. When I made this series myself, that's the space where my own embossment mark went in. David Bull's Moko Hankan Baron mark. But now we're doing it under the Moko Hang Publishing. It's a different embossment that goes in. Let me do one and see if I can show it. Hang on a second. And I got to get my moisture pad ready. Descending geese, yeah. There's an idea in the batch that we got for the descending geese. I'm not going to be using it because it's just a bit too off the wall. But my God, it's funny. My God, it's funny. I can't, I don't have it here to show you. I can't show it to you yet, but there's some real comedians have submitted ideas for this stuff. Okay, Baron's ready. Moisture pad is ready. Embossment block is ready. Prints are ready. Let me do a test. I've got some junk paper here. Here's junk paper version. Let me do a test to make sure the location is good. Let's try this. Difficult registration. Let's try it. I think we are looking good. Let's give it a try. How are the embossing blocks manufactured? We don't manufacture them at all. We just send it out to an offset printing company. It's a printing company. I know. These are polymer plates. We just gang them up. Cameron puts a bunch of the lettering that we need, sends it out as an EPS file, and the company sends back the plastic block. I think in English it's called a polymer plate. They're very, very common in the casual printing business over there. In North America too. In Japan it's a jushiban, and in North America it's a polymer plate, and I don't know about other environments. That was upside down. It has to be this way. This is not a trivial job today because I have to do this embossing without flattening any of the other embossing that's already there around it. Let's have a look and see if we can see how this comes out. Here, I think you can see it there, sure. Yeah, this is better. Here, this is what we've got. The print itself has a patterned embossing around each print. We've now put the two embossings. That one is vertical orientation, this one's horizontal orientation. And our Ome shipping staff will cut this in half and send them out to the viewers, to the waiting collectors, as two individual prints. That was a bit too much pressure on that. Let's control this one. Okay, let's get going. good. Okay. What's on in the conversation? I'm sorry, I'm missing a bunch of it, of course. Today being, what day is it? It's Friday here today on our normal schedule. Cameron, I believe, will be here today. Today's garbage day, of course. Actually, though, I think the girls forgot to put our garbage out last night. I think we're a little bit too high on that. Huh? I think we're a little bit too high. I'm not quite sure about the location. Let me go just a minute. I gotta go and get a copy. We've got a master copy over there. Let me have a look where that is. Hang on one second. It's back in the bowl. I'm not quite sure where the prints get trimmed, so just a second. If I screw this up, I'll have big trouble later on. So. It seems okay. Okay, we're okay. All right. We're okay. Cameron tells me that there's a whole bunch of people waiting for these prints. We started our reprinting of this series a year or so ago, sending it out to our professional printers outside, and started subscriptions again. and we weren't able to keep up with the printing. Cameron says there's maybe a dozen people or so who are subscribed to this who are now weeks. They've been waiting for this one for weeks. And we're just so behind with all the printing. So. So he's going to be very happy. When he comes here this morning and sees these sitting here, he's going to be one happy camper. Because he's been writing letters to these people, please wait just a bit longer. No, I'm sorry, just a little bit longer. And they write back and say, you told me it was just a bit longer. So he's going to be very happy to see these today. He's the guy that gets the sharp end of the stick, when things are late or when we send a wrong package by mistake or something like that. He's the guy that they write to. A few years back when we were doing a monster set, 2 prints a month per person. Yes, and we did it the same way as this. We printed them in pairs. Those prints are a bit smaller than this. They were 2 postcard prints side by side. We did it exactly the same way as this. So from our carving and printing point of view, we made a single print. And then the shipping ladies chopped it in half and they did their work at 2-week intervals. But from the printer's point of view, it was just like making a normal monthly print, monthly subscription print. This isn't something we invented. Back in the old days, it was very, very, very common. Very, very common. Even some quite large prints. I've got some in my own collection upstairs, some uncut samples of prints that were made, quite large prints that were made 2 up or sometimes 3 up on a sheet. And then after the printing was done, they sliced them and sold them separately. We've got a couple of examples in our shop using older Doihanga blocks. There's one example in our shop where there's 4 of the same print on a piece of wood. So we print it all as one and then slice it and send it out as 4. Another drizzly day out there, another drizzly day. Over the years, we've had our printmaking venture here, Mokohankan, because we mostly sell subscriptions and online and stuff. And then when we had the upstairs shop here for the past 4 years, the weather was really never a factor for us because the only people who came to the shop on any given day were people who wanted to come here. They didn't, they weren't strolling around town just bumping into us. So rainy days or sunny days, it never made a difference to our business up until last year. And for the online business, subscriptions, of course, it's totally, completely irrelevant. But over the past year now, and we're now in the 2nd year of business here in this ground floor, over the past year now, we are now going to have a different factor in our business, in the amount of sales we do. X% of the people who come here didn't know about us before. They were just walking down the street casually. They see the place and come in. So of course we're paying much higher rent for this, but it's increased the number of people who walk in the door. As I said, that group of people who didn't know about our work. But that means also then that there's a new factor in our business is weather variability. When it rains and stuff, we get very few of those people because there's very few people strolling down the street on a rainy day. And last month, it's rainy season, it's been a really, really rainy day. And last month, for the first time in our history of the Asakusa shop in 5 years, last month's gross revenue was lower than the same period a year before. We've never had that happen to us. We've always been having spectacular growth. And our Jacques here, at least if he hasn't gone to bed yet, Jacques here has been tracking this for us. He's a statistical expert, and he's been using statistical analysis tools to help us predict and track and watch our monthly income. And I haven't yet sent him the June figures. That was fast, as usual. I haven't yet sent him the June figures, but when he sees them, he's going to be very, very shocked, because it's diametrically opposed to all his predictions. Sounds like the end of the world out there. What are they doing? Are the garbage people tearing down a building? What did somebody put out? I don't know. The hot dog place, it's gone. That's just about right there. We're in front of them. What were they doing, I wonder? Is their truck broken? Was that what we were hearing, or was it some heavy garbage that was in there? Come for the printmaking, stay for the garbage collection. Are there many classical printmaking shops in Asakusa? No, I mean, we're it, of course. There's a shop on the Nakamise, the main tourist drag, that sells some older woodblock prints and a bunch of photocopies of woodblock prints and postcards of prints, stuff like that. And they have also opened a second branch a block away from us up here in the Rokudori area. But no, we're the only game in town as far as making prints here, of course. They don't make anything, they just sell stuff. The whale meat, there's a change in the way the whale meat's going to be happening now. If you follow the international news on that, Japan, I forget the exact sequence of steps here, they pulled out of the IWC, I think, and they are no longer trying to catch whales down in the Southern Ocean. Japan is now no longer going to pretend that that stuff's all for research. They've now equipped the ships to go out and hunt whales for meat. It's no longer the research scam. It's all going to be done in Japan's coastal waters. So the ships are out there now. Actually, the season is starting part of it right now. And Japan is going to try and boost again the local consumption of whale meat. Good luck on that one, but whatever. Well, people are mad about the whales overseas. There are not a whole lot of people mad about the whales here in Japan. It's a question of access to information. Some things are culturally different, blah, blah, blah. With people here in Japan, your typical consumer has never been exposed to the kind of information that most people in Western countries have been exposed to over the past couple of decades. Namely, the activists have been educating the general public about such things as like whales have families, they know who they are, they know who their mates are, and when your partner gets a spear in the head, you kind of feel it. They obviously have that level of intelligence. And that, for people like me, that's where we decide to get off the eating whale meat bus, I'm not bothered at all about eating a chicken because it doesn't know who its kids are, it doesn't know who its mother is. I think. So I got no problem with the chicken. It's an independent entity as long as it's treated humanely while it's alive and killed as quickly as possible. I got no trouble eating chicken, but the whale thing is different. They live in family groups and they die horribly and slowly, so that, you know, my personal, you know, that's why I would get off on it, but you get off the bus there. But most typical Japanese people have never been exposed to that information because the way the media is controlled here, of course. So they just don't have they don't have the knowledge, the information. A typical Japanese consumer, all they know at the moment about the whole whale controversy is that there's a Japanese cultural way of doing things and the foreigners are trying to yell at us and scream at us to change this. So naturally, there's a blowback. Your typical Japanese person, without too much access to information, is resistant to that outside pressure. I'm not excusing the fact that they kill whales. I'm just trying to describe how it is that what seems like a rational, smart, hip, modern culture like Japan is still doing this. Your typical Japanese person just hasn't heard the story to the extent that a typical Western consumer has heard it. No, I haven't seen a documentary. I don't follow this stuff at all. I'm sorry. I don't watch TV and I don't go to movies, so I don't see this. And I'm sure there's lots of information about this that I don't know. I did get one snap of information. My children and my grandchildren live in Vancouver, Canada, where there has been a long-standing aquarium that has dealt in whales and had whale shows and stuff like that. I think she said they're getting out of that business now. They're not going to keep killer whales and stuff like that anymore, as far as I understand it. So. The endangered species thing, I'm sorry, I'm not specifically knowledgeable about that. I don't really know. I mean, again, my own way of thinking now is probably fairly typical Western, blah, blah, liberal way of thinking. If we are taking too many of those resources, then yes, quit it, obviously, before we destroy the resource. But I would like to think I had a common sense approach to this. And as I said, the easy analogy, chickens are fair game for me. Whales would not be fair game for me, that's all. So, in the earlier days of human culture, when it was more subsistence based and we needed food and wherever we could get it was fair game, then it was fair game. But the volume that we are now dealing with, the number of people on the planet, obviously we can't do that anymore. So just whatever common sense. And leave those guys alone. We don't need that. Leave them alone. If we can't figure out better ways to get protein, then we don't deserve it. Just let those things be. Asking generally about nature conservation, I'm not sure what to say. I'm sure the same viewpoint as all of us do. You know, we recognize now that there are an awful lot of people on this planet having some huge impacts. It's time that we sort of matured our society a bit to try and sort things out. We've used resources without considering how finite or infinite they are, of what we're doing. And we now have to develop a more mature way of doing this. Part of it, of course, goes back to this, the way we do bookkeeping for businesses. You know, I have a business here and I do my bookkeeping, I put my plus and I put my minus in. And the way that bookkeeping systems have grown over the past few hundred years, since the beginning of the capitalist system, it looked like a good idea at the time, clearly it did, and we now recognize the bookkeeping systems we're using have huge empty holes in them. We're not accounting for the costs in terms of things like environmental cost and environmental impact. We're just using these resources and it doesn't come on the ledger as a minus. So we don't have to account for it, so we just use them without thought. I hire staff, but I don't pay for their education. I use, whatever, fuel, they dig it out of the ground in Saudi Arabia. There has to be some way to develop a new way of bookkeeping so that those costs are calculated. Yeah, the whale thing, that's possibly quite true, big in post-war. I really don't know the history myself either, There was clearly indigenous people whaling here. I mean, there was coastal whaling back in the Edo period. We have Edo-era prints that show gangs of people hauling in whales in nets on the coast. There was whaling. Whaling did exist back then, and it was obviously clearly for food. And because the technology was so limited, it obviously didn't have much of an impact on the world. So there was historically some whaling, same as there was in Canada, and those other countries, whatever, Iceland, Norway, stuff like that. When I was in school, my own history, late 1950s through the early 60s, Canada was a whaling nation. They sent them out, harpooned whales, dragged them back to the west coast of Vancouver Island. I mean, sometimes my Japanese friends here, when this comes up in conversation, they point at me, you guys did it too, you killed the whales, you dragged them in, blah, 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 blah. Canada was a whaling nation. And the answer I just make to those guys is, yeah, at some point we sort of grew up a little bit and decided we didn't need to do that anymore, and now we're not a whaling nation. So whatever. And I didn't think about it. I didn't blink. I didn't protest against it. It never registered on my radar because that's the way the world worked back then. I don't ever remember eating it. I don't know. Did we have it on our plates? I don't think so. What did Canada do with the whales they caught? Was it just oil and stuff like that? I don't know. Yeah, the U.S. was, of course, big. I mean, the U.S. was it. It was the planetary, of course. Well, what's the time? Oh, 9. Cameron should be hearing that, I guess. He's going to be happy to see this because it's going to get a load of. They're not angry people, but they're slightly frustrated people. We promise a print a month and we don't deliver it. So he's going to be happy to see this. asking about if the whales will stop migrating near Japan. It's curious. As a rough guess, as a layman, I would think that that's probably not going to happen. As part of my daily news intake, I subscribe to a news feed from the CBC in Canada. And there's been a bunch of news items there recently. There's a certain type of whale, I can't remember the name, it's a gray whale or a right whale or something, a certain type of whale that does the migration patterns up and down the eastern seaboard, like past New York, from Florida past New York, up through the Gulf of St. Lawrence in Canada. And there's a tremendous problem. The number of individuals in the population has decreased quite heavily. They've actually sort of tracked them all. They've got numbers. They know how many there are. In fact, there's more. The news report I saw yesterday pointed out the fact that there are more professional researchers of that population at the moment than there are whales left in that particular population. And the problem here has nothing to do with Japanese hunting. The problem is ship strikes. These whales are dying with propeller marks all down their backs, washing up with sliced off tails and stuff like that. So the Canadian government and the environmental agencies and stuff over there have instituted extreme regulations. When the populations are high in a certain area, the shipping lanes are moved, helicopters go out to try and keep ships away from them. They are really, really, really serious about trying to get a handle on this. And I was just looking at this and reading this and like, a tanker is rolling along and a whale is there. And how do you get a propeller strike? Like the whale doesn't see or hear this thing coming? You can't. I'm not blaming the whales. You should move out of the way. But don't they move out of the way? Or I was just kind of curious how this was actually physically happening, because one of those large boats, ships, must be insanely noisy down at the water, down under the water. And I didn't see the answer or questions in any of those news reports. Just the fact that there was this huge number of strikes happening, and whales are dying from propeller injuries. And we're talking about massive, massive boats, tankers and stuff. So all I could guess was, and this is a guess, just maybe the whales sleep on the surface. I don't know, that's it. So they can sleep and breathe, and by the time they hear the noise coming, they wake up. It's been moving. Well, the tanker can't steer. I get that. I'm not asking. They're moving the sea lanes. So when whales are congregating in this area, the environmental agencies trying to say, look, ships keep out of that area for the next little while, because obviously the ship can't steer its way around whales. But how does the whale allow itself to get struck by a tanker? Even when it's under the water, I got to come up for air. This massive thing with the propeller noise, surely isn't it audible, visible? Yeah, I'm not blaming the whales. I'm just honestly curious how this is happening. That's all. But going by those news reports, the agencies are super, super serious about this whole thing. The ships are forced to change course in the area. They're forced to drop speed from whether it was their normal speed of 20 knots. They're allowed to go no faster than 10 knots or something, or whatever. Again, I don't know the number details, but there's a serious program in place to try and minimize this problem. So John's point here, so if they can hear each other hundreds of miles away, can't they hear this boat coming? I don't get it. I guess just maybe if they're asleep, I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's it. You don't know, but I don't know. These whales, you're talking about creatures that live for decades and decades and decades. Literally, really, these are long-lived creatures. And I get it that kids could maybe not know what's going on, but after you've been in that area for decades, surely you know what ships are and what is going on, good morning, good morning. Hello, hello.
So yeah, lots of Jushiban work.
Yes. I made the one for Susan. I didn't. Here, it's here. She's going to come and pick it up any minute now.
Great.
She's going to do her own work on that. But in the meantime, I'm doing this one for embossing. So change the okay. The one camera goes down, and this camera comes up. Got it. Good. Turn over here. They're saying moin moin camera. Is somebody says finally look who showed up. Are you late today? I didn't know.
No, I took a later train and it was a local one, so I just sat and read a book the whole way. It was nice.
Sat and read a book. Like you didn't open your email or get to work.
No.
Japanese Saturday. He is not.
No.
What's that? You happy? Look at this. Look at this. Are you happy? Number 18.
Yes.
How many people have you got? You know, are they crabby?
Got a
Are they
few.
friendly? Or
We
okay?
had one person who has sent reminder emails a couple of times.
Oh, okay.
but
well, fair enough.
But everyone's been nice.
No,
yeah.
I've been really late with this, so it's fair enough. Yeah, I get it. Everyone's been really nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Through their teeth.
Yeah.
When it's pretty good, you know.
Yeah.
But they haven't paid in advance or anything, right? No, or have they?
They did.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least most. I stopped it once I realized that, it's actually going to be a few months. But so, ironically, the ones who've been waiting longest are also the ones who paid in advance.
So,
because I didn't realize it was going to be a while down the road.
Yeah, what we should do then is maybe put in a little something or whatever as a sort of a peacemaking gesture.
Yeah.
Maybe like if they're not already a Patreon, you could put in a Patreon print or something like
yeah.
this.
So the thing to say, sorry and thank you for your patience.
Something like that.
Were you able to fix up the spots that weren't pressed as hard as you
No,
hoped?
we were sitting.
Not yet.
I'm going to pass that on to Susan when she wasn't here yesterday because
Oh, that's right. Yesterday she came in, I think.
she was actually she was here. So I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right. I got confused about who was here and who wasn't.
Ouch! Fire him.
Who, me?
Me. I guess I'm supposed to be fired now because
What did you do wrong here?
I came 10 minutes later than the time they've decided I'm supposed to come in.
Yeah, well, you've got a slip, right?
Yeah.
No,
I'll go type one up.
Okay. Why did I say something? Some more of this microaggression they try and accuse me of? They was always so microaggressive towards the camera or something. I get that.
There's an app called Marine Traffic. Check it out. I don't know who they're talking to or
Okay,
what
we were talking about.
Okay.
The conversation went around and around in a lot of ways, and whaling came up and stuff like that,
okay.
different parts of whaling. Like the Japanese are now openly whaling in coastal areas. It's no longer the research scam.
Right.
It's now, let's just kill these things.
Yeah, now we're hunting. Yeah.
And the conversation went different ways. And in one of the news feeds I follow from Canada, has had a lot of reports recently. There's a huge problem in the Gulf of St. Lawrence. There's a certain type of whale, whatever, migrates through there or lives through there, and it's one of the busiest shipping line areas on the planet. And the environmental agency there, or whatever it's called, is really trying to minimize the problem of whales dying from ship strikes. There's a bunch of mature big whales dying with propeller scars all down their back and blood coming out. Younger ones with the tails chopped off and stuff.
Got it.
So they've instituted a bunch of rules where they monitor with helicopters, and then they move the shipping lane. Next couple of days it's going to be moved 2 degrees west to where the whales, and the speed limit's reduced and stuff like this.
Got it.
So it sounds all like good news, what they're trying to do. But the open question that I tossed out was like a mature whale that's 30 years old, 40 years old. He's been in the sea. He knows what's going on. He can't get out of the way of a tanker. I mean, it sounds like I'm blaming the whale. It's your fault. But I'm saying the tanker can't steer around the whale.
Yeah.
Doesn't the whale hear this coming? You know?
Yeah.
So, and I just don't know the answer. I don't think anybody specifically answered. The one guess in my mind, if I was guessing, I'd simply put at some point they have to go to sleep, and they're sitting up there on the surface sleeping, and along comes this thing, and by the time they wake up, it's
on them.
It's on them, maybe so. So
interesting.
that was the source of the conversation there. So there may still be feedback on that conversation. So. I sent out 3 more invites this morning, but
Oh, nice.
unfortunately, all the 3 people I chose to send invites to had not checked off that box about like show my work on the
Okay,
net.
so waiting until you get
So
your
I told them, look, I've got to do this. I was all right for your sketch not to go on the net, but from now on, I need to be able to publicize this. So please let me know if it's okay to do this.
Yeah.
So 3 more.
Maybe they'll
today.
say once I'm one step closer and it looks a little better than the
That might be
scribble or
embarrassed about,
something.
but whatever, we'll discuss it. But if they're not willing to show the work, then that's it. I'm sorry, pull a plug on them because that's it. I need to be able to show this.
Yeah.
And over the next few days, I'll do this. A couple more each day. I'm just quietly going through this thing, trying to get a balance of interesting designs.
With 600 entries to look through, it takes a little time to.
I've been looking through them, but I haven't been looking all that carefully. So
Right.
I've got to now try and sort of balance. I need 2 from this theme, 2 from this theme, 3 from this theme. That's what that is.
90 Blue Rose is now hosting you. Thank you. Welcome. More people joining us today.
It's not really going to be hugely interesting today. I'm sorry, it's just work that has to be done. These people, customers are waiting for these prints. There's nobody else here in the shop who can do this particular job. So you can maybe explain if there's a bunch of new people here, what's going on.
Doing called embossing of the Mokuhankan logo. Should I get a little closer?
Oh, yeah, we did this once.
Okay.
Here, let's try and find the sweet spot here. Hang on a sec. Is that going to show the print? The print itself, it's a pair of prints here. We're printing 2 together. After we're all finished, we're going to slice them in half and send them out separately.
Yeah.
The print itself has an embossed border, and what I'm adding here are the embossment mark that has our company name, Mokuhankan. It's this way, Mokuhankan, 1 vertical and 1 horizontal. And when I first published these prints in my own, before we had the company here, I put my own personal logo in this corner. So when you look at this print, somebody finds one of these prints years later from now, if they've got one with this, the Mokuhankan, they'll know it's our Mokuhankan reprint. And if they've got one that just doesn't have any lettering, just has the burn mark, that's my default original.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Iron Octothorpe asks, is this harder than it looks? Nobody else can do it? The name thing, the embossing.
No, I didn't mean that. No, it's so skilled. I mean, they're busy. They're busy. They're all just doing their own work. I don't want to disturb. Suga-san's running like crazy trying to get the August print out of here. Yeah. It's not that nobody else has the technical skill to do it. I mean, they are just busy.
Yeah.
Chan too. Also, Karen-san too. Oh no, I looked again overnight at those share certificates.
Okay. Not so.
I want to redo it.
Okay.
Don't tell Dei-chan because she'll be disappointed. So I'll print it myself or something or whatever.
Okay.
The problem is most of them are going to people who got last year's.
Yeah.
I'm looking at them again last night.
Oh, no.
I'm not yelling at you, Blaine. I sat there just as much time as you did doing this thing, but just whatever. We pull a plug on Kanai-san's print and on Ichikawa-san's print, and let's pull a plug on what you and I did yesterday.
Okay.
We'll just redo it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Side by side, they really just not good.
Yeah.
And I don't know the key. We'll have to find some more. Next experiment, maybe let's try going from a PDF file because a PDF file is scalable to whatever.
Right.
We can put it with a margin at the left if you need to. And once the scaling happens, it's still sending vector information because there's no pixelated lettering.
Okay, I've got an idea about.
So let's try nibbling at that for the next one. And, we've got a ton more paper. I bought a box of 100 sheets of the origami paper. So maybe one of the streams next week, Dave will be sitting here, printing some of those things. So just I can't say I couldn't sleep last night. That's a bit of an exaggeration. It really, really bothered me last night.
Got it.
These are our top supporters.
Yeah.
I've got to hold myself to the same standards that we push our printers to. Really be fair. These are nice. Yamamoto-san did a very, very nice job. Beautiful job. It's technically gray, but this gray has a bit of blue in it, that gray has a bit of green in it, that gray has a bit of purple in it, and when you see it nicely close up, it's got just so many tones, you know.
It's much like the Nanga landscape, which was
Similar-
recently
yes,
reprinted in that way.
Exactly, yeah, very similar to that. The original didn't have those. The Nanga did. The Nanga was done that way. This one wasn't. This was done, and I think it was 3 shades.
Yeah.
It was a black gray, a medium, and a darker. There was no attempt to fool around. It was just part of a book.
Yeah.
It was a book, just blow it out, blow it out, blow it out. And because we did it as a single print and a single design,
Yeah.
this is not descending geese, by the way. This is
Ascending crows. According to Yami says, problems aligning the 2 printed parts of the share certificate, so don't remind me.
oh, so he helped us with that. No, what they said, what do you tell them? It's,
Yeah.
we've had a strong or big problem with pixelated output, and we cannot communicate with our stupid Epson.
Printer.
Epson.
Yeah.
Kill them all.
But even
first ones
before
to the wall. When the
that-
revolution comes, the people who make printers, they're the first ones going to the wall. I don't think it's just me who feels that way.
No. But even before the pixelation problem, it still took us forever just to figure out how to get them in the right spot.
I just don't want to talk about printers. Anything. Just I was going to have a good day today. I don't want to talk about printers. I don't mean our printers.
Yeah.
I mean
Not
computer
Sugathon and
printers.
Nate-chan. But mechanical printers.
When the revolution comes,
Printers are the first to go.
the people who design those things, the first ones up against the wall. It was a strange experience today. The garbage came. Actually, our girls forgot to put the garbage out last night. So
Oh, no.
Our garbage is still in the closet. By the time I remembered, I was here and the garbage truck was coming on the street. So.
Yeah.
But once the garbage truck left our place, it stopped about, I don't know where it was, somewhere down like the next stopping spot, like the Korean hot dog place.
Yeah.
It's funny. But they don't use the city garbage. They have so much garbage they have to hire a
Oh, yeah.
commercial company. But it stopped there, and for the next minute or like 2 minutes, it sounded like they were tearing down a building. Well, really, with no exaggeration,
Yeah.
it sounded like the sound you make when those claws come in and rip the building down,
Yeah.
and break up all the woods and stuff.
Huh.
I had no idea what that was all about. Somebody must have put something out. And you can't do that. You're not,
Yeah.
this is supposed to be burnable garbage, less than 50 centimeters and blah, 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 blah. But the sound, it sounded like a building coming down, literally. It's so much so that when I get out of here, I'm going to look down the street and see like what's missing.
What,
So,
what shop is gone? Typical craftsmen, always complaining about technology trying to replace them.
no, I don't think that's the case. You know, we live and die on modern technology here.
Yeah.
You know, what am I doing here? Streaming something.
Yeah.
So come on, I'm not worried about being replaced.
Not a Luddite.
And I think I'm not alone on this planet when I say that I am sometimes, meaning 99% of the time, frustrated by the way
Printers
computer
work.
printers work. You know, I don't think I'm alone there. Especially, it's a part of it. We've brought it on ourselves. I have to admit, because we've chose to run a Mac shop here, and all those companies, Epsons, Canons, whatever. What's the other one? Hewlett Packard, whatever.
Yeah.
Of course, they internally run totally, absolutely, completely on Windows-based systems. And they run their drivers per this, and they're all locked into Windows. So when it comes, oh my God, the consumers out there, there's a few people buying Macs, so we have to build Mac drivers.
Yeah.
And they don't know what they're doing, they don't care about it, it's just an afterthought for them. So I agree, I've brought it on myself by refusing to buy a Windows machine.
Yeah.
And maybe if we had a Windows machine here to run that, it might have gone smoother. Might have gone
Maybe.
smoother.
No, I still have lots of trouble with printers at home with my Windows machine.
But just I'm saying, is I'm X% perhaps
Yeah.
responsible for some of this problem, and I get that. Yeah, I get that. It looks like this is going to be it today. I thought I was going to chew to. There's 100 copies here. This is 200 prints, Cameron, huh?
Yeah.
200 prints. So I'm sorry, this is probably going to chew up most of the stream today.
Yeah, it's 9/11.
9/11, oh my God. there we are. Most boring stream we've done this year. I'm sorry. Just say something interesting.
I'm reading Natsume Soseki's book, Kokoro.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, I am a cat.
I'm a cat. Oh, no, not,
Yes, tonight.
not now.
I was sure that's what you're about to say. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Not this time. That would be pretty appropriate, however. Maybe that'll be next on the list.
I'm sorry, I interrupted. Which one? What are you reading?
Kokoro.
I don't know about that one, sorry.
That's okay. I'm only a little over 20 pages in. I'm a slow reader. But...
Are you reading in Japanese?
No, in English.
Oh.
Yeah, just started it on the train ride.
That's one field I have to say I'm completely have nothing to contribute, nothing to say. I'm not a reader of fiction, or especially of literature fiction. No, never have.
Yeah.
It's just part of life that's escaped me so far. So.
It's okay. Everyone has different interests. Cordy Gum says, it's okay. I still miss the Dosa streams, though.
You're kidding, because the only feedback I ever got on those was, oh my god, again.
Not another one.
Yeah. I still do dosa, but now I do it on one of the days when there's no stream.
Yeah.
Really, I had got the feeling over time that it was, oh no, you know, because I really can't follow the stream at all, the chat at all. And it really isn't interesting to watch. I mean, once to see it, okay, now you see what's going on, but that's fine. But the 50th time, you know, it's like this. If I was doing this every day, we'd lose, you know. You got to get the knife. The knife has to hit wood, you know, or see some printing happening.
Yeah.
Those two things.
John Becker's calling you out about not reading fiction. You cited Moby Dick earlier, talking about whaling.
I don't think I did. I think somebody else in the stream did, actually.
Okay.
I don't think I mentioned Canadians were blah, 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 and then somebody else mentioned Americans doing it. Look at Moby Dick.
Captain Ahab.
So, I mean, I know Moby Dick exists. I know literature exists. I'm not a complete Philistine. But reading fiction, and especially, you know, like, as I said, literature-type fiction, the kind of stuff that they're trying to get a Nobel Prize. Yeah. It really isn't on my radar. I'm sorry. I understand that world is out there. Very intelligent people will do it and discuss it and understand it. It's just something that hasn't crossed my you know, my radar. Yeah. And I'm not trying to be anti-intellectual. Just simply whatever. There's room enough in life for different things. And maybe if I had a train commute to do, that's it. No, really seriously, that might be a different story, of course. Yeah. Well, actually, John has mentioned that, but I could just toss this out as a sort of theoretical, hypothetical question. He knows the two words Moby Dick. Has he actually, you know, read it? Yeah. Other than like in high school, finish it by next Monday to write the book review thing, you know, whatever. So. Almost certainly, I've read the comic book. Yep. Probably, you know, when I think back to when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, we used to buy all kinds of comic books, 10 cents each, 5 cents each. And there was one series called, correct me, it was whatever, Classics of Literature done in comic book form, or whatever, you know, famous books, or whatever it was called. And it was a comic book of the book, you know, whatever. And I'm sure that must have been in there.
Yeah, that's something here now. Actually, right now, Journey to the Center of the Earth is being turned into a manga here in Japan.
You mean as in a translation of Verne's book, you mean, or in just make up a new story on the same idea?
No, I think it's the same plot, not a reinterpretation of it. They're doing the book in manga form, and it looks like it follows the original.
Because the ones I was speaking of were, it was the same story.
Yeah.
There was no adaptation. It was just, you know, pictures. It was I can't say graphic novel because it was a comic. Yeah. But whatever. Yeah. I can't remember, Illustrated Classics or something. I can't remember the actual trade name of the thing. But 1959, 1960, 1961, somewhere around there.
John Becker says, yes, for real, I really read it.
All right, well,
Cool.
I'll sit here quietly and just listen to that. That's fine. Who won?
Who won?
The book. Who won?
Oh.
I mean, who won? The whale? Or
The whale or the whaler?
Like I said, I don't actually know how it ends.
I'm not sure.
Right? I mean, there's a fight to the death or something at the end, isn't there? And
Probably. I haven't read that one, actually. Classics Illustrated were the comics.
Well, maybe it sounds right. Okay, something like that, yeah. Cool. What did I say? Illustrated classic. I got it back.
Yeah.
And this is a long, long, long time ago. So. Who else on the stream would remember those? Granddad
Fly
Bolt?
fish for fun. The sharks won in the end, according to Stephen Gilroy.
Is that a precursor to Jaws? Is that what it's all about?
The cat is concerned when an echo hockey sound happens at Vivid
in-
KP's house.
Soka.
Yeah, because I think we just got another one.
Yeah. They're coming in at a manageable level now. They were like, before they were streaming in every hour. I just ignored it and try and look at them each day, but now it's manageable. And we were talking just before you came, I sent 3 more invitations last night, this morning. But unfortunately, all 3 of those people had asked, don't show my work in
Oh yeah,
public.
you were mentioning that.
But I mentioned in the letter to them, look, we're going to have to adjust that because I need to be able to show these things in public. I can't run this behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Saying there's 3 more good ideas, but trust me, people, we can't see them. I can't do that. You know, they've either got to be willing to let their work come in public or not play the game. You know, so I'm not even sure why I put that on the checkbox in the first place. I don't remember. What was I thinking about now?
It was when we were still thinking of showing the early rough ones
Yeah.
for the front page, and then decided, no, there's
why-
too much chance for intellectual property theft. Or
Why would we allow some people to opt out and not other people? What was our thinking of having a checkbox on it? I don't remember back to what we were thinking that day.
I'm not sure either. Many moons ago, maybe 1 moon ago. I don't know.
A moment ago. Anyway, it is moving forward. For those who don't know, actually, we haven't talked about the stream. There is an update page now, right? It's nekohake.com/updates.php.
Yeah.
I posted about it on Facebook. Did you do anything else? Did you start something?
Not yet.
So
No.
maybe
I-
jog it out to the other.
Yeah, with Instagram, I was thinking, but I didn't want to just choose one, so I might make a screenshot of a bunch of the images. So I'm not saying, look at this one image we've chosen for
Yeah,
it.
gotcha. Good.
So not giving one person extra exposure, since none of these are decided at all
You
anyway.
just do that. I mean, that. Yeah.
Yeah,
What's that?
big truck. They're chatting now about it. Peter Pan. Is it just a fairy tale without an author? No. It was actually first to play.
James Barry?
I believe so. First to play, then a book, then countless movies and other adaptations.
I read that either. That wasn't something that interested me as a kid. Yeah.
Mosquito.
Phone number?
Mosquito.
Mosquito?
It's just
Here?
outside of my range.
The first one of the year, is it? It's come over from the temple? Are you sure? Mosquito?
It looks
Kind of
very much
early.
like one, but a little bit bigger than a normal one, so it could have been something else. But show it to you when it's 2D. Is there a good way to learn Japanese outside of an education system going to Japan itself? Get a Japanese partner. My current partner might be angry though.
Can't help
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Well, there's lots of opportunities these days. There's this thing called the internet, which has access to movies, TV shows, people, Skype, chat.
Yep.
There's never been
There are language exchange groups
Yeah.
and stuff you can
There's
do.
never been access to more resources than any other time in human history.
Just takes some self-motivation.
Yeah, exactly. It's really literally, if you've got access to the net, there's no excuse anymore for anything. It's, the thing is, though, if you learn Japanese from anime, you're going to end up talking like this all the time.
Yeah. Yelling or high-pitched voices.
Your eyes might go funny or something.
Yeah.
What kind of material would you recommend then for someone who wanted to try and learn normal Japanese? Because anime doesn't cut it for normal speech. Beat Takeshi movies will leave you
Teach you
speaking
in-
like a gangster.
Yeah.
So really, well, it's a sort of a serious question. TV is not the place to do it.
Not
Well,
all
NHK,
the...
okay,
yeah.
NHK news reports.
Yeah, news
NHK
reports
you know.
and children's shows, but not the ones with the crazy characters jumping around, but like educational children's shows, the equivalents of
Sesame Street.
Sesame
type
Street,
stuff.
yeah. Those can be a good way because they bring on adults and children to talk to each other, and they use normal talking voices. There are also dramas or animated shows that have people talking normally. So don't go after all the fantasy and the sci-fi and
Or the Jidaigeki or something.
right, or the jidaigeki, but I think they call the genre slice of life, like people in high school or normal life situations. Those can be good sources of just natural
I'm
sounding.
not sure high school.
Okay, high school. If
yeah.
how old are you? If you want to learn to speak like a high schooler, watch high school ones. But yeah, like one show I like, and I've been reading the manga occasionally too, is Shinya Shokudo, or the Midnight Cafe. It's about a guy who runs a restaurant, opens at midnight and closes at 7 in the morning, and it's just about the people who come into his restaurant and eat there. And
This is a Japanese program for domestic audience.
Yeah.
How do you access this?
it's on Netflix. Even in the US, they have some episodes too.
In Japanese?
Yep, with subtitles too.
So-
Yeah.
Okay.
And it has, it's just normal people talking about normal things in their lives, so it's
And what
pretty
level of
good way.
comprehension? Like feel no problem, just normal conversation.
yeah, it's like normal conversation. So after you've learned some basics, jump into that, I think. But we watched it first, actually, in some of my college courses. He said, just watch a few episodes of this. And then we would talk about the content of the episodes.
Remind,
and
what's
it
that called again? What's that called?
Shinya Shokudo.
Can you type it in maybe?
Yeah. And he didn't let us watch it with subtitles, though.
The Midnight Cafe. So.
Yep. Or they might call it Midnight Diner. I don't remember how they've translated
Yeah, that would
it for
make
the
more
English
sense. That would make
side.
more sense.
Yeah. Something like that. Japanese reality shows like Terrace House. Maybe I've never watched any of it. People are using apps, Memrise and Rosetta Stone. There's Duolingo, I think, is another popular language learning app.
But that's
I've never
fine. You
used
got to.
Yeah.
Or you can just get over here.
Hi, oh, good morning. Oh man.
Yes, I need.
The smaller one, the bigger one,
You, where is it? You tell me.
the blocks.
No?
No. Oh. That's. We'll find out.
Relax.
Open these up right now, or
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Whatever. There's no teasing. There's no show and tell. This is not a delivery of wonderful auction findings. It's a delivery from our Ome workshop. And they package prints over there. They go into the shop here. So that's nothing. Yeah. I'm almost done. What have I got? Like 9 or 10 left, I think.
Yeah.
So that's going to be it, isn't it, Cameron?
Yep, 9:26
Oh my
now.
God! Sorry about that, people.
Oh, I'm surprised no
Most
one's here.
boring.
Usually people are in by now. But
What is it today, Friday? It's Shiba-san and Teiko-san. And they're both getting it. Shiba-san's Chuolan, so...
it could be an accident or something.
And we have a party for 6 in the first stage today, so I've got to get ready for that. As soon as I finished here, I got to run.
Oh, okay. Party at 6. Oh, that's right. Netflix helped fund the most recent season of that show, so that's why that one season is available all over the world, but all the other seasons are only available in Japan.
Well, they were made by a Japanese TV company. First.
yeah.
And then it was cancelled here, and Netflix
Yeah,
picked it up.
Netflix picked it up for one season, and I think a movie. So, which is basically just a long episode. Same kind of thing. People are headed out.
What's the schedule on? Today's Friday morning, right?
Yep.
We're down, of course, for the weekend. I'll be back here Monday. What job will I be doing? I'm not quite sure. I know the backstop job, of course, is the calligraphy and the octopus.
Yep.
I have other things waiting. I have to do a bunch of Doi Hunger print cleaning. We've got a bunch more prints for me to put aside.
He's still...
They're
busy.
pulling from their drawers.
Okay.
So, remember the last batch I made. So he's not busy still. These are, they've got the drawers full.
Okay.
So I've got some cleaning of Doi Hunger prints to do. I have... What am I doing? I have to do the registration marks on the next print for the print party room. The koi print.
Yeah.
Kawasaki-san cut the blocks themselves, but I have to do all the registration marks. I've been avoiding doing that on stream because it's mostly persuader work. It's noisy works. But I've got to get it done. That's waiting for me. Then over and above that, there's more embossing. Kanai-san's last batch of prints has to get embossed. I've got to test. There's a piece of tsuge. Chongsan I got from China, and I've got to test that. To see how it is.
Is this a separate one from the first time around? Because I remember you saying one was a little softer than you expected.
This is a newer batch than that, and then a newer one came in. Chongsan brought it in.
Same man.
One Teiko-san, hello. Like I said, I've got 2 batches to test.
Oh wow!
So.
Okay. Very cool.
So there are different jobs, and this one too. These are not finished yet. I've got to go through each of these now under the microscope and pull out the little bits of bark that are in there, because this is a very open, exposed print. Nothing on this side.
Yeah.
On this side, there's many that have a little tiny black or a piece of bark, and that's going to chew up actually most of my day here today.
Yeah. Wow. He really did a nice job with these rich colors here. They're
very,
very smooth, beautiful.
These prints are to die for, just to die for. Fabulous price, great packaging, good theme, interesting approach. Sales pitch.
Yep. Available fleet. Available now for only 18 easy payments.
Okay, 4 left and then we're gone here. Okay.
Update us on the Gumpy hunt. We're still waiting for a sample.
You told me. When did you phone the guy? I think
Tuesday.
That was Tuesday, and we're now here in Friday. And he said, "Oh, I'll do it.
I'll send it right away."
Right away. So that's our update.
Just like a month ago. Yep, we'll send it right out.
Do you think there's an issue here, or just he's literally a little small businessman who's a little bit swamped?
Yeah.
Or do you think there's a gaijin issue here?
I don't know.
What I want to do, when the sample does get here, what I want to do is, rather than try and bowl the guy up, okay, give me 200 sheets, blah, 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 we'll take all your production for next year, whatever. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
He's a stable business, presumably he's got customers, he knows what he's doing. His supply of raw material is very iffy.
Yep.
So what I would like to do is, rather than jump in like that, which will just make him roll his eyes and say, like, what have you been smoking? I'd like to do, say in order for, say, something, depending on his price structure, say order 50 sheets, whatever. Don't overpromise
Yeah.
that we're going to be able to expand his business in Norway and sell them all over the world and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Put the order in and try and show him what we're going to use it for in such a way that will make him think these are a good customer who is using my product in a useful way. It's not just being thrown away for like, we're going to...
Tissues.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm getting at. Maybe so when we put the order in, we can maybe actually send him a physical package with a couple of prints in and a link to a video where we show how we're doing this or something, just to try and get him on board with this.
Yeah.
He may not be the slightest bit interested, I don't know,
Right.
but it's worth a try if he says, oh crap, look at that, this is how my paper really should be used.
Yeah.
Or the younger guys in his workshop or something. So let's try that with a reasonable order that's not too big.
Yeah.
And then 6 weeks later, if we're back and saying, okay, look, here's what's happened.
And they're all gone. Can we?
And then we're up and running, rather than trying to promise big and perhaps not deliver.
Right.
And then, as I mentioned, the first video in that new series, the 1 point lesson series, could easily be that.
Yeah. Actually, I'm almost done the spoon one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was I not supposed to talk about that?
No, I think it's fine. Trying to remember what I filmed. So.
Okay, gang, there we
go.
are. There we are. Let me have a look at these. Do I need to zoom in again? Let's try this. If I get this in the...
Get the Gumpy paper maker to put his name on the products. Mention his name. Instant increase in recognition and distance.
Sorry, I don't think I can go that far. We can do the judging, 10 out of 10, sponsored by. Are we in there? We got it? Okay, good. Is it visible? All right, good. There's a tiny lettering in there. It says Moko Hankan and Moko Hankan. You need a microscope to read it, but it doesn't matter. It's in there.
Yep.
Name, quality was in before the name goes on. Shiba-san, good morning. Hello. Okay, gang, that's it for this week. That's it. We're over there. Okay. Hey, it's not been a hugely interesting stream, I'm sorry. It's work that did have to get done. As said, next Monday will be perhaps octopus lettering carving, or it could be more embossing, or it could be test printing of something, or cleaning up doi prints. I don't know what it's going to be.
Okay.
I will be here back then Monday morning.
Sounds good.
Good.
See you later.
Thanks again for watching. I haven't seen much of the stream. Again, at lunchtime, I usually have a look through it and see if I can pick up some of the chat. Always interested. Thank you again, guys.
Thanks.